Okay, so this topic is about scheduling. Now, don't confuse with rescheduling. Rescheduling is a similar topic, but it has got its own significance. Although some of the topics in scheduling and rescheduling overlap, this is different from rescheduling.
Okay.
So what is scheduling? And how many types of scheduling are there? What does SAP follow? Where are the different parameters set? We are going to talk about that today. Let's take a simple order. So a customer comes in, let's say 1400 customer, and he orders a material, M01, some quantity, 100. As soon as sales guy enters that material in the system and hits enter, apart from other things like pricing and other checks that happen at the line item level, one of the major checks that happens is called availability check. Whether availability check should happen or not is controlled at many levels. One of the levels is the material master. There is a field that controls whether availability check should happen or not. We will look at that field. At the second level of control is at the schedule line level. These are the two major trigger points. One is a parameter at the material master level. The second is a parameter at the schedule line category level. Now, let's say for this material, availability check needs to happen. Some examples of materials that do not require availability check are service items or materials with a fixed capacity. A plant which manufactures 1 million gallons of milk per day. There is no need for availability check in such situations because there is a fixed demand and fixed supply. The customer knows that he is going to get his product. The plant knows that it is going to manufacture 1 million gallons per day. But that's a very rare scenario. It doesn't happen often. Again, service is another scenario where availability check need not happen. Because for service items, there is no need for availability check. There are other examples where availability check need not happen. But for most cases, with physical deliverables, availability check needs to happen. So, once the system has decided at the line item level that availability check is going to happen, then there are two ways in which availability check can be done. Or rather, let me put it this way. Once the availability check needs to be, system determines that the availability check needs to be done, the system verifies the stock. Let's not go into the different ways in which availability check is done. Let's just say the system checks the stock. A quantity of 100 is required. Okay. Do we have that quantity in the plant or warehouse? If it is not there in the warehouse or plant, if it is there in the warehouse, then the system commits to a date. Okay, the system will commit to a date. The date could be based on a number of parameters, and that committing to a date is what we are going to cover during the scheduling class. How the system comes to a date. Meaning, let's say today is October 31st. Right? Today is October 31st. If you place this order on October 31st, even though the stock is available, the system might say, okay, I'm going to deliver this product to the customer by November 10th. So we have the stock available. Why is the system proposing a date of November 10th? We will see why. Next scenario is, let's say the stock is not available. The stock of quantity 100 is not available. What happens in this case? In this case, the system looks at the strategy for this material. That comes from the material master. What is the strategy? In very plain, simple words, strategy means, are we producing it or are we procuring it? In the material master, there is a field called procurement type. And the procurement type field controls whether a material is externally procured or internally manufactured.
Okay.
If that material is internally manufactured, then there will be a production lead time for it. What is production lead time? The time it takes to produce that material. So that will be added along with the requested delivery date to produce the final delivery date. We will look at more details of production lead time, exactly what are the different timelines that are added, so on and so forth. Now, the third scenario is external procurement. So either we produce the goods in-house or we procure them from some vendor. In case the goods are procured from a vendor, then the vendor will take some time to deliver the product, right? That time is called procurement lead time. So these are some of the major lead times that needs to be considered when doing scheduling. So let's go into the details of how the system calculates these different lead times and where are they stored. Now, this is the case where we have goods. Case number 1. Case number 2, internal production. Case number 3, external procurement. So finally, it brings out a date. So how are these dates determined? Is what is scheduling. So in order to arrive at the final delivery date, based on the different scenarios, the system considers these 5 different processing types. This is apart from availability check lead time that we are going to see in availability check. But once the goods are available, the system looks at these 5 lead times: transit, loading, picking, packing, transportation lead time. 5 lead times or processing times are used to arrive at the final delivery date. In another word, when you maintain them in the system, you maintain it based on history. That means, historically, it took 5 days for transit a particular material. Historically, it took 2 days to load a material. So historic dates are looked at just to make sure that the total duration is computed in a more better and accurate manner. Those times are computed based on the person who is experienced in that particular transportation. Let's say a plant is in Chicago and the customer is in New York. The warehouse manager or delivery manager looking at the deliveries for Chicago to New York might have done it over a period of 1 year or 10 years. And he or she would know that on an average how long it would take for some piece of goods to be transported between Chicago and New York. And that's what I mean by historic processing time. Same with loading time. How long would it take to load, let's say 1 ton of goods of a particular type, or half a ton of a particular type of product? That can only be based on experience. So those times will be maintained by the user. Next thing. Okay. Starting with the ordering date. Okay. Well, let's say this is August 1st. August 1st, the customer has placed an order of quantity 100. And say within 5 days, the system has determined that the material will be available. Now, it need not be always 5. It can be 0 also. It will be 0 in case the goods is readily available in stock. If the goods are not readily available, then there will be some lead time to procure that material. That's called availability lead time. We'll look at that in a separate session. But once the material is available, let's say August 6th, from that point, your regular scheduling starts. We talked about picking time. How long does it take to pick the goods? Packing time. How long does it take to pack the goods? So if you consider them as milestones, the first milestone, second milestone, third milestone, fourth milestone, fifth milestone. If you add the picking and packing time to the first milestone, you arrive at the third milestone, which is loading date. If you add the transportation lead time, which is the time it takes to get the truck ready, just to get the truck ready, not to load or anything else, just to get the truck ready. Because for a particular order, you might require 5 trucks. And 5 trucks might not be readily available. So transportation lead time is the lead time it takes to get the truck ready onto our docks. So transportation planning date plus transportation lead time will give you the loading date. So material is available, transport has been planned, now comes the loading date, which is the date on which you can start the loading. Let's say there is a loading lead time of 1 day. It takes 1 day to load the material. So from August 9th until August 10th. So August 10th is your goods issue date. Once the material is loaded, the next milestone is the goods issue. And from that point on, the truck has left our warehouse and it takes, let's say, 5 days for transit between our warehouse and reaching the customer's location, which is the actual delivery date. So if you start out on August 1st, add 5 days to make the material available, add 3 days for getting the truck ready, or 1 day for picking and packing, whichever is greater, the system picks the greater value and determines the loading date, adds the loading time and determines the goods issue date, adds the transit time and determines the delivery date. This is how the system determines the actual delivery date. So where are the different lead times maintained? For example, picking and packing is 1 day. Where is it maintained? It is maintained at the shipping point. So if you go to the shipping point configuration, you can maintain the pick pack days. This is half day. If you want, you can put 1 day, 2 days. One second, hold on, please. Class 1. Okay, sorry. So the picking and packing time is maintained in the shipping point. So you can go to the shipping point configuration in enterprise structure. And you can set the loading time and picking pack time. Both the loading time and pick pack time is set at the shipping point. Okay, next. Where is the transportation lead time set? It is set at the route level. So you can go to the route configuration in SPRO, basic for sales and distribution, basic functions, route determination. Okay, you can go to route determination video if you want and go to what route determination means and how to do it, so on and so forth. If you go to the definition of a route, you can see the transportation lead time there. Next is factory calendar. What is factory calendar? This is just an FYI. A factory calendar is used to identify the holidays and working days of the logistics provider. The example is, if you are using FedEx for transportation, maybe FedEx does not work on Sunday, but he only works Monday through Saturday. So you will create a special factory calendar for FedEx and apply it here so that the system, when calculating the lead time, for example, the transportation lead time, will automatically understand the calendar dates. So Sunday it's a holiday, so it will shift it to the next day. That's how the factory calendar is used to determine the transportation lead time. Next is the transit time. So similar to the transportation lead time, the transit time for a route can also be set in the route definition. So if you go to the definition of a route, like I had shown in the previous topic, you can identify the transit time in days. Okay, so if you look at the schedule lines of an order and go to the shipping tab, you can see all the different days and the different lead times. Loading time, transportation planning time, goods issue time, and the different lead times. Okay, and these are the milestones. loading date, material availability date, transportation planning date, goods issue date, delivery date. Now, that is the basics of scheduling. How the different dates are computed, how the different lead times are configured. So there are two types of scheduling. One is backward scheduling, one is forward scheduling. What is backward scheduling and what is forward scheduling? And when does the system do each of these? Backward scheduling is based on the requested delivery date. Meaning, let's say the customer said that the goods are required by August 31st. Then this will be the starting point for calculating backwards. So, from August 31st, it subtracts the transit time. Let's say the transit time is 5 days. So, August 31st minus 5 days is August 25th or 26th is the goods issue date. Which means by the 26th of August, you need to have issued the goods. If you need to issue the goods by the 26th, when should loading happen? Subtract the loading day. Let's say 1 day. So minus 1 day will give you the loading date, which is 25th. Next is transportation lead time and picking pack time. Let's say the greater of these two is 5 days. Total is 20th. That means the material should be available by the 20th. From the requested delivery date the customer has requested, you subtract the different processing times and arrive at the material availability date. Now, the system has to make a decision. Okay, after subtracting these different dates, let's say January 30th, minus, so on and so forth. At this point, on this date, the system has to make a decision. If the material is not available by that date, the example that we have seen is August 31st, and subtract the different times, and arrive at August 20th or 10th. Is the material available by that date? Only if the material is available by that date, you can meet a deadline of August 31st. If not, we cannot. So if the material is not available, then the system switches to forward scheduling. So by default, the system does backward scheduling first. If backward scheduling fails, how does it fail? Based on the requested delivery date, using backward scheduling, you subtract the different processing times and arrive at the material availability date. If the goods are not available by August 20th, which is the computed material availability date based on backward scheduling, then the system automatically switches to forward scheduling. What is forward scheduling? Forward scheduling, instead of starting with the target date in mind, starts with the ordering date. Because anyway, we cannot meet the customer's delivery date. So let's compute what date we can deliver the goods by in time. So current date, which is today, or ordering date, plus material availability date. Let's say it takes 10 days for the material to be available. So add Jan 10th, and then pick pack time is 12th, transportation lead time, so on, loading time 5 days, and then transit time of 10 days. So by January 30th, I'll be able to deliver the goods. This is forward scheduling. The system by default does backward scheduling, and if backward scheduling fails, the system will do forward scheduling. Okay. Now, do you have any questions on scheduling?
Yeah, Shiva, forward scheduling, it's based on the current date, right?
Ordering date, current date.
Or ordering date. So, delivery date is not requested by the customer, right?
Well, it's like this. Delivery date is generally requested by the customer,
Okay.
and the delivery date the system will try to meet the delivery date using backward scheduling.
Okay.
If that fails, then we have to give an alternative, right? Okay, I cannot give you by August 31st, but I can give you by September 3rd.
Okay.
That is forward scheduling.
Okay. And Shiva, what is this replenishment lead time? What is that?
I'll talk about replenishment lead time. That will be covered in availability check.
Okay.
Okay? So this is scheduling. So let me stop here.